What does wives submit to husband mean? How do we keep our marriage strong after having children? Can marriage survive without sex? This is a serious question.
Yeah, this is, come on, guys. Hi, we're Jackie and Bobby.
And today we're answering the internet's top questions about marriage. Okay, you ready? You ready? What makes a marriage successful?
Communication.
What? So one of my favorite definitions of marriage is that it's a friendship with romance. You have to have a friendship and you need a virtuous friendship. What does that mean? It's where you have a common goal or aim, and that means you're trying to get each other to heaven. But when you have a friendship, it's not just based on our sexual chemistry, our physical chemistry. You need to have a friendship because the sexual part is such a small percentage. The rest of the time, you're living with this person 24/7, you're seeing them all the time. Like, you want to be with this person and you want to live life with this person. When you do have a deep friendship, you're able to communicate better because we're like, we actually love each other. We're in this till death do us part. I know this person actually loves all of me and they want the best for me. They're not going to leave me when I bring up tough things. So I think that's what makes a successful marriage. Yeah, and when you marry your best friend, it's awesome. How do I know if I'm ready for marriage?
You're not.
Never.
You're never really ready. You haven't read enough, you haven't watched enough videos, you're never gonna get to that point. That's part of the adventure. And so sometimes we make ourselves just neurotic or just so worried, thinking I've gotta get every other thing in my life aligned before. And yet the great adventure of when you meet the right person and when you really believe God has brought you together, it's like, I can't wait to start life with this person.
Yeah.
And we're gonna figure a lot of things out as we go. It's not that every other piece of my life has to be perfect before I take this step.
Yeah, and God might call you to marriage at the age of 20, or he might bring you that person when you're 50. I have a couple friends that brought them the loves of their lives when they were 50. You just never know. And so for me, I always told myself, even as a single person, the best thing I can do for myself is to be as healthy and holy as I can be while I'm single. It's not like I'm all of a sudden ready and I'm perfect. It's like, no, we're all imperfect and we're on this journey towards heaven, towards Jesus. And when you get married, the beautiful thing is you're helping each other with that as well. What are the most important things to discuss before getting married? Ooh, there's a lot.
Spending habits.
Your faith.
Where are we gonna live?
How are you gonna raise your children?
Being near family or the challenge of being away from family.
What are the roles that you see the husband or the wife doing?
What are we living for? Like, where is the ship headed here?
How are we raised?
Are we really on the same page and not just assume that we might be?
Are you struggling with pornography? Have you ever struggled with these things? What has your past been like? The things that you saw growing up, you're going to possibly automatically assume that's how it's going to be in your marriage. When you do things together or do things with friends or your family members, you get to see the person in different elements and see how competitive they are, which can be a good way. Bobby.
Assembling IKEA furniture is a beautiful way.
Playing Taboo. That was
to figure out
oh my gosh.
people's style of communication.
Yeah. How do we pray together? How do we pray individually? You either realize like, oh wow, I love this person even more than I thought, or you're going to start seeing things like
red flags.
Ooh. There should be nothing that you're hiding. And I would say there should be nothing that you're afraid to bring up. Because if you are afraid to bring certain topics up for fear that they're going to break up with you, that is a big red flag. That's not going to bode well for a lifelong marriage. Like, you should be able to talk about anything with this person. Is it normal for the relationship to change over time?
Change into what? We are the same people, but we're also different than who we were when we were 16, 18, 20, 25. Before kids and after kids, different career changes and health situations. This is where it's good times and bad, sickness and health. Like, our love has to be steady and also flexible as we grow and develop.
Your marriage is going to change. I read a study that it was like essentially after 4 years of marriage, that honeymoon romance goes away. You still have to learn how to romance each other. You're hopefully growing in intimacy. So although that honeymoon feeling goes away, it's growing deeper and deeper in your intimacy. You're growing deeper in spiritual intimacy, physical intimacy. It's not going to be the same as your wedding day. But the beautiful thing is the way that love works, you're just going to keep growing deeper and deeper in love with each other. As you get to know the other person's heart more fully, you should hopefully love each other even more than you did on your wedding day. What should we do if we're considering divorce? The first thing I would recommend is that you need to get help. You need to go to therapy. The goal would be to reclaim that love that you first had. And like, there was a reason why you married this person in the first place.
The hope would be to fight for the marriage to survive. There's a time and place for separation. that we may need to physically separate, be in different living situations while we sort and we figure this out and give it time and get help, like call in outside help, the counseling, therapy, talking to a priest to walk you through what is going on, to see like, can we reconcile through this? Can we come back better? Can we get to the root of what's really going on in the relationship?
I know the glory stories of marriages that they have gone through hell. Like, I have a friend who had a sexual addiction, and for a few years had to literally go get therapy away from his family, be separated from the family, and came back a better husband, and it renewed their marriage. I also know marriages that have been going for 50 some years, and they had massively rocky periods, but are better today because they stuck with it. They stuck and they went through the hell. And so, I mean, if you can, like, as much as you can, try to get help. It is possible because we have witnesses of it.
Also noting, if there is a safety concern, if there's physical violence, then a separation right away would be considered.
Yeah. How do we keep our marriage strong after having children?
Oh, children. Wonderful children.
There are days that you feel like you're just surviving. Like, we're just keeping our children alive. Like, you feel like you're drowning sometimes. And then even this relationship can be strained. There are certain stages and phases of a marriage where you're going to feel those ups and downs. I will say your relationship is the first. Our vocation is this. Our vocation is not our children first. It is this marriage. And the healthier that this relationship is, it is better for your children, because your children will see a beautiful love between mom and dad, and that is so, so, so important. So do whatever you can to keep that communication going, to have that intimacy there, to take each other on dates, to keep that romance, to talk about, hey, what do we need to do? We have friends who do weekly date nights. We don't do that. That's not even like our love language. We're like, we just want to chill and to like watch a show together and be home because we travel a lot. So it's communicating what you need.
It may be hard for you to be assertive in what it is you need, especially if you have a servant heart. It can be tempting to kind of just repress what it is that you need because you see all the other fires to put out and all the other people you want to serve or help. But this is where we have to love each other as we love ourselves. And do we love ourselves? And so are we willing to, yes, put this marriage first? And there's times where it's out of kilter and out of balance just because of the needs of the kids and whatever's going on in life. Yeah. But to remember that this has to be primary. The vocation is the marriage.
Why is marriage declining?
Ooh, do we have an hour? So I think we're seeing the fruit of a generation that's a bit afraid of marriage. Marriage is heavy. Like, marriage is a great responsibility. And like the wounds of divorce and the wounds of like what happens when we don't live up to those commitments. Who could live up to that? Who could live up to good times and bad till death do us part? So why don't we just live together? Why don't we just play it safe?
Back in the day, it was not okay to live together. That was scandalous. And actually, in the eyes of the church, it still is scandalous. Societal norms have kind of made it so much easier just to live together, to have sex before marriage. Before, it's like, you want to have sex, you need to get married, right? There were a few things that helped. So society-wise, we've collapsed on a lot of moral issues that were benefiting marriage. I also think we're declining in religiousness. Marriage is not just a certificate, it's a covenant. When you believe in God and you believe there is a vocation, there is a call. So what am I called to? Am I called to the religious life, to celibacy, or am I called to marriage? It's not just something we do. This is actually a vocation, a call from God.
That takes work. And I think in our digital age of comfort and just kind of staying in an isolated tech bubble, this pulls me out of myself in the most beautiful way to make me in the most beautiful way to make me like the man God needs me to be. And I can't do that if I'm just living in an isolated bubble of porn with AI and these chatbots. That's like, I can go to a robot to tell me anything I want them to tell me, and there's no chance of disagreement, or why would I need to engage in a messy human relationship? But we're human beings. This is what we're made for. This is the great good of being in relationship and being a human person.
Oh, wow, this is very philosophical.
Here we go.
Yeah. Why does marriage exist?
Go
All right,
for it,
philosopher.
Honey. Go for it, honey. Well, we see around the world, across all different cultures, this phenomena of marriage, right? Sometimes it was more of a contract, but as Christians, as disciples of Christ, we can see marriage as being elevated into a sacrament, into the image of God's divine love for us.
On a very human level, marriage is super important because of children. Children deserve a mother and a father, right? That's like even the Catechism says, like one of the purposes of marriage is for the procreation and education of children.
John Paul II said that the family is the building block of the whole society. And so there should be a vested interest in protecting marriage and family. And we've seen culture go the completely opposite way. And there's consequences. There is built in this complementarity of the differences of male and female that God saw fit to like bring it out of ourselves, that I have to go out of myself as a man to the woman and vice versa. In this way, we are not just coming into a contract of pleasure, we're imitating the very divine love in which we've been created.
What does wives submit to husband mean?
Take it away, honey.
I already did a whole video on this, but just a really quick answer is submission means to be under the mission. And if my husband's mission, as it says in Ephesians 5, is to lay his life down for me as Christ laid his life down for the church, that's a mission I want to be under. I'm like, all right, if you're going to love me as Jesus did, I'm totally under that mission.
It's not grounds for me to treat her like an object.
We want the best for each other, but I respect my husband. I'm like, what do you want? Like, and he does the same. This beautiful, Pope John Paul says, mutual submission as well. And it's just, how can I best love my spouse? Oh, should marriage be hard?
Yes and no. There's a bit of an oil and water of two different people coming together, two different ways of seeing the world, different levels of just kind of like practical, like what does it mean to be for a room to be clean, like from like low level stuff to really real stuff of the heart and wounds. And there should be a deep current of peace, like that this is the right person, that, you know, God has brought us together, his grace is sustaining us. But it also means there will be times of conflict, and it's not always smooth sailing, but that's also where we're made into saints.
I would say life is hard.
Yeah.
Life is challenging. There is going to be sickness. There's going to be suffering. There's going to be infertility. There's going to be miscarriages. There's going to be all this stuff that life throws at you. And the beauty of having someone, again, who is by your side on your team, that you're going through this together, is such a beautiful thing.
But also to recognize it's not a Disney movie.
Yeah.
If there's conflict, it's okay. Like,
yeah.
It's
very balanced in that middle. Like, we're not like fairy tale, no conflict, but we're also not super dysfunctional.
Yeah.
There needs to be that middle of, this is something so beautiful, and of course there's going to be sacrifice. Of course there's going to be some suffering and dying to ourselves constantly.
Yeah.
Should married couples have separate accounts?
Bank accounts?
Yeah.
Or Facebook accounts?
I mean, you can. The real question are, what are the motives here? If you do have separate accounts, what are the different motives?
And you're trying to justify it. Am I being transparent, or am I trying to keep stuff secret? Or am I trying to hedge a bet, and there's some part of me that is a little worried, what if this doesn't work out? Transparency is the big takeaway.
Can marriage survive infidelity? I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. Is it going to be hell? Absolutely. Like, it's not something you get over quickly when that happens. It's going to take a lot of healing, a lot of rebuilding of trust. That's one of the saddest parts. It's just, it breaks trust. And you're learning, like, can I trust this person again? But I know marriages where that has happened, and like we said before, the marriage is better than ever now.
There does have to be remorse. There does have to be the radical transparency and display of, I am putting the effort in to recognize your hurt, whatever has led to this, and you know, getting to the root of, why am I doing what I'm doing? What led to this? Yeah. And a commitment to upturn everything for the sake of this.
Can marriage survive without sex?
I think it depends on where the question's coming from. Is it that we have just kind of gone on autopilot and we've stopped having intimacy, which has led to a loss of physical intimacy, and are both parties like cool with that. Sometimes there's stuff being repressed and stuff being like held back. My mind goes to health though. Like what if something happens to one of the spouses and you can't have sex?
If a spouse is unable to have sex, that takes heroic love, and God will give the grace for that. Now, if it's another reason,
like if I'm
we're
withholding,
drifting apart, we're withholding it, that is a deeper issue.
yeah.
And I would say that marriage needs help, because that sex is a sign and a foretaste of heaven. It's a sign and foretaste of God's love. And so that's a beautiful part of intimacy in a marriage. So when it's not some other circumstance where that you can't have sex, it's just because we've drifted apart. That is a much deeper issue, and I would say absolutely needs to be repaired, needs help, needs therapy possibly, for that couple to once again have that kind of intimacy. Does marriage exist in heaven? So marriage between our spouses does not exist in heaven. This is just a sign and a foretaste of the marriage between Jesus Christ, the bridegroom, and us, the church, the bride. For some reason that makes people really sad, but actually I'll be more united with Bobby in heaven than I am here on earth. We will love each other more perfectly when we are fully united with Jesus in heaven than we ever were on earth.
I know how broken and fallen I am, and so my love is always imperfect. And so to think in heaven, I'm going to know and love her in a more purified way, God willing, than I ever could here. It's like, yeah, there won't be the marital sign because we don't need the sign anymore because we've arrived at the destination. And we're going into the heavenly marriage of Christ and his church. That's the ache for which we were been made. So we're going to be shoulder to shoulder walking into there, not just,
all consuming the two of us, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why should marriage be between male and female? God created us male and female in his image and likeness. And this is a sign of his love for his people, right? That of a bridegroom for his bride. And even just how we're made in our bodies, we're complementary. We see that we are made for each other. But as Catholics, it's so important because marriage is not just about this right here. Marriage is not just about our feelings and our pleasure. The purpose of marriage is not just it's the bonding of spouses, but it's also for the procreation of children. If you think about in two couples that aren't male and female, and two men or two women, they're the most intimate these two people can be, and that can never bring about a new life. So we are made in the image and likeness of God, who is constantly life-giving love, and the marriage between a man and woman is a sign of that life-giving, generative, procreative love.
Yeah, and the matters to be the sacrament. It's not just a contract. It is the sacrament, this image of God's love. So in baptism, it has to be water, not fruit punch.
Yeah.
And for the Eucharist, for communion, it's got to be bread and wine. And for marriage, it has to be man and woman. Thank you guys. We've enjoyed answering all these questions. And if you've got more, please feel free to add them to the comments.
We'll see you next time.